Hi, this is Carol Mixon, and I have Sue Haviland here with me, and I'm so excited because we've talked about this over the years. Like we were going to get together and talk about like some storage tales, the true and the strange. And I hope you like this because it's a lot of fun and it is just really weird. That's all I can say about it is like, that's just life, right?
What's been your most expensive auction unit?
Oh yeah, I got a couple good ones actually.
Good.
Probably, after almost 35 years now, one of my most expensive ones was actually when I first started as a fresh site manager.
Yeah.
And I had this lady who had been a tenant at the property for years, and the usual, it's strange when she stops paying. So her unit gets sold for like $1,500. And back then, that's 30
Oh,
years ago.
yeah.
Okay, so huge. And the whole unit, it was so neat and boxed up and everything was labeled, but every single box was full of like parquet, the oleo tubs that you get butter in at the store,
What?
Cool
And what?
Whip tubs, oleo tubs, and she had washed them all and packed them, and it was boxes. I think it was a 10 by 10 or a 10 by 15.
Wow. Every
Four
every box is full of
neat
those.
boxes and marked like household and stuff. So the buyer thought that he was getting all this clean, nice household,
Wow.
jam-packed full unit, and every single box had plastic tubs in it.
Were they pissed? The
They
buyer?
wanted the money back.
Yeah, I've had one that wanted the money back too, and because it had computer boxes in it, and I said, because someone asked, and I said, listen, we don't know, we haven't, gone through anything. We just from the outside we looked and we put what we could see, but we didn't say anywhere in the ad computer boxes. But I think he spent 1,500 on it and then wanted his money back. Yeah, that's no fun, is it? I
No.
I
And
have
then
one. Go ahead. You go ahead.
and the flip side is one that didn't sell for that much. It didn't look like much. It sold for about $100. But this again was early in my career back in the day when the old bearer bonds didn't
Oh, yeah.
security and stuff. And the auction buyer, my facility that I took over had a reputation for having bad sales, meaning they were picked through and the owners or managers were taking stuff. So they didn't bid much at my auctions in the beginning. And then he got over $100,000, the buyer, in bearer bonds and a dresser. So all of a sudden, then my auctions were the most popular auctions in town. I would have, 100, 150 people.
Yeah, people here, they
Bragged and told, yeah, he bragged and told everybody. So I did really well at auctions for a while.
yeah. My most expensive one was in San Francisco, and I was helping this gentleman. He had container storage, and it was right down by the pier, and but it was not a nice place at all. And he hadn't done any ever. He had never done an auction, and so this thing had been there 15 years, and I was just like, well, okay, so but I mean, his whole property had, but this particular space had been there about 5 years with no payment, and he didn't really know what to do with them, so he called me. And so I have an auction. Well, in preparing for the auction, I open up this space, and it is full of paintings, and they were organized really well, and they were wrapped really nicely, and but yet in a storage container. I thought, okay, well, who would put like art in a storage container? So then I brought a couple people out and I said, can you tell me what this is worth? And they said, oh, an old museum went down. We wondered where all these paintings went. And so anyway, as it turned out, I sold it for $18,000, which I thought was awesome, but which probably was like a joke to the people that bought it because they were just so thrilled to get it for 18,000. But for me, I was like 18,000. Woohoo.
Well, I had another similar one where you don't know what it's worth, and
Yeah.
most times you aren't getting the fines like this. But again, had one where a guy, first time he ever bought anything, watching the Storage Wars, and bought his first unit and didn't look like much, and he got a painting in it, and he sold it for like 25 grand. He paid, I
Wow.
think, 15 or 20 bucks for the unit, and
Yeah.
that one, the unit itself didn't look like it had anything. So I'm guessing maybe the people who had it didn't even realize what they had.
Yeah, you don't always know. I know some weird things that old or especially older people hang on to, and you think, oh, that couldn't be worth anything. You watch what's that show on TV that they have all those old things that they look and value. I'm like, oof, that thing I wouldn't pay 10 cents for that. Or I probably sold those things before for nothing. Or would somebody take the unit for $5? Take it for $5.
Yeah, we don't want to
Yeah,
clean it. Yeah.
yeah. I don't have to clean it out. Yeah.
How about most spaces rented in a day?
Well, obviously, some of the most spaces rented in a day were by some of my facilities that have colleges when the kids get out. But
Yes.
for a for a brand new lease up, thinking back, I think 42 in one day was the highest
Yeah.
for a new lease up. And then about 28 to 32 for a stabilized property that weren't college
Oh,
ones.
that's so good. Yeah,
Upwards
mine's
plus.
kind of a yeah, those are good because that mine's about the same amount. But wait, remember husband one, Tom Litton? We were opened a new store in Tucson, and it was right across from the U of A. And we, had you rent for 2 months and you get the third month free. And so we put an ad in, and we thought, oh, we hadn't gotten many calls or anything on it. It was a brand new store. We didn't even have our computer in yet. And so we were all on ledger cards. And so I got there just like 5 or 10 minutes late, and there was a line out the front door. And I thought, oh man, I am going to be so much trouble that I wasn't there like on time. And I had actually bought a bunch of stuff, and I was going to show him the stuff I had. So I started to come in with my bags, and I'm like, oh no, I'm going to leave those here. I thought we needed some stuff for the office. So anyway, we rented 48 in the day. But it was weird because some tenants, there were like the students were going in, like 3 of them on one 5x5. And I'm like, okay. And then one was paying cash, one was paying check, and then the others paying with a credit card. I was like, one more thing about that. This is going to make me really mad. But we weren't showing the spaces or anything. I mean, it was so difficult. What a crazy day that was. I'll never forget that.
You just set up your card table outside and whip them out.
Yeah, we weren't even that prepared. Oh man, it was a mess.
What's the weirdest thing you found in a storage space?
I started making a list.
You do? That's good.
Let's see. Well, I think we probably all, if we've been doing this a while, found sex toys. One time we went in one unit when we cut the lock, and two were funny. One was just a big bag of just left.
Oh my gosh. I found a lot of porn for sure.
And then the second one, different facility, when they left, they didn't take the lock. You cut the lock, you go in, and there was 2, those plastic chairs like everybody can buy,
Oh yeah.
stack up for outside. There was 2 of those white chairs, and each one had a blow up doll in it with fake cigarettes. Our picture up on the screen shows farm animals, and so I think I had people put their 2 German Shepherds in a storage unit in July when they went on vacation because they didn't want to pay for a kennel, and they just put a bunch of food and water in a unit, dogs in there. Obviously we heard them barking very quickly, and people came back a week later and their dogs were not there. I've had a scenario where
you probably just they came out and picked them up, huh?
No, the animal control.
Animal control picked them up. That's what I meant. Yeah. That serves them right, right?
Yeah. But they, showed up a week later, and then they were mad at us that their dogs weren't there because, they paid for the place, I'm like, well, you would have dead dogs if we left them.
That's good. Oh man.
So yeah, one other funny one is the manager calling me and Sue, I've got a drug lab. I'm telling you, there's all this drug activity going on, and we don't know what to do. And trying to watch them. So long story short, from all the observing, and I said, well, you're out doing your rounds when the people are in the unit, we have the right, go over, start a conversation with them and try to see what's in there. And so the front of the unit was made up to look normal, like a storage space.
Right.
But in the back, and then, so we had the police, we had a good reputation with the police, and they brought the dogs over and just kind of ran, and they went right to that unit a couple of times. So long story short, once we get in there, they had show rabbits in there.
Oh.
Behind the fake facade, they had just 10
Oh my gosh.
full show rabbits. And so the dogs, and when they were seeing them go to the dumpster with newspaper and gallon jugs, they were bringing water in, watering them, and then changing out their newspapers so the dogs were smelling the urine.
Wow.
So,
Well, I had a manager from Albuquerque. This was early on. This is like in the 80s. And it it was when I was with National Self Storage, and I got a call from the managers, and they said, "Yeah, we've got we think there's something alive in the space." And I said, "So what's up with it?" And he said, "Well, I was out and I could hear something bang." And I said, "What?" And he said, "Yeah, and there's some like straw out in front." And he said, "I've been cleaning it up every day." He said, "It's pissing me off." So I said, "Well, cut off the lock and go in." And he goes, "Well, okay." And I said, "I don't care. I can't be there, but take some pictures and all that." And he opened the space up and there were goats in there. And it was like, yeah, it was some young guys that had some goats in there. I don't know why. I just don't know why.
we wonder what our customers think.
Yeah, I don't know what they were thinking.
Another time
They were
they're doing a
international students, but I was just thinking, why you've decided to keep your goats in storage? I have no clue.
Another time when I was doing a walkthrough with one of my managers, and a space that was supposed to be vacant, it was a 10 by 10. We opened it, floor to ceiling booze. So yeah, one of our tenants had a fire at their liquor store, and instead of in another space or asking us to probably do an insurance scam of damage, they had come over and taken the empty, and this is back in the day before we used to lock them all the time, or I think it had a tag, and they just took the tag off. And they filled it up, and they never admitted it was theirs. They never came back for it, but just pints of all this, like rock and rye and all these strange alcohol. And so we think that they just put it in there to claim it had all been damaged in the fire, and then, just left it there.
Yeah, I was doing a physical inventory or of a, for an auction, and we had this one space, and it was a 5 by 15, and it used to be a public storage, and it had no real lighting much except the exterior in the hallways, but none in the space. And the manager and I opened it up, and I said, "Oh, looks empty." And I said, "I don't know, does that look like a blanket in the back?" And we looked at each other. The manager and I looked at each other. He goes, "Oh no, I'm not going in there. I'm not going to try to figure out what that is because there's something back there." And I said, "Well, go get a flashlight." So he went up to the office, came back with a flashlight, and as he's putting the flashlight on the thing, all we could see is this big head of a snake and its tongue coming out.
Oh,
And
I would have died.
literally almost had a heart attack on me. He fell back against the door and he's holding his heart and he goes, "Good damn thing I didn't go in there." He said, "Literally, you would have been taking me to the hospital." Because he said, "I hate snakes." But it was a big, like yellow and white boa constrictor. And so we went up to the office and I said, call this person. And so the mom answers and she said, "I wondered where he put that snake. I told him it had to be out of the house." And I gave him a day to get it out of the house. And she goes, "Wow, I guess at least he found a place for it." I'm like, no, ma'am, this is not a place for it. And now animal control has it. But when I called animal control, I said, "We've got a big snake here and we need you to pick it up." And I said, "But it's a really big snake. So you need to, maybe have a couple of people." Well, they sent out a person and then he has to call for backup. So this whole thing now is taking a couple of hours, like total. And then when the guy, two of these guys start trying to get it out, and then it wraps itself around this guy's leg and he's asking me to unwrap it. So I don't even want to touch the thing, right? And so here I'm under this guy's leg, unwrapping and uncoiling that thing. And then it started going around me. And I was like, "Oh, I do not like snakes." No, but I'm not like freaky weird about it. But I mean, enough was enough, because they start really kind of, it started gripping my arm and my wrist area, and I thought, "Oh my gosh." And then another guy came along, and then the three of them got it. But they said it weighed a couple 100 pounds. But but mom said I had to go. So I had to go in for it.
His leg would have been wrapped. I would have been gone.
Well, you know what? And I said to the manager, I said, "You know what's so weird is we had nothing but mouse problems in that place." And because we lived right, it was this place was right by the water, the channel. And And so I thought, geez, wow, we just must that exterminating and everything must be work. Well, no, it was, we figured out later it was a snake.